Renkoski was last seen on Thursday. Her car found on I-96 with the motor running and her purse and shoes inside.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. Today we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Paige Marie Renkoski. She disappeared on May 24th, 1990. This is one of the coldest cases that I've covered on this channel. A couple of you brought it to my attention, and then I remembered seeing it a long time ago on Unsolved Mysteries, one of those shows. I know that there was a documentary done about a year ago. A bunch of college doctors and students from Michigan did it. I haven't been able to see it. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. This is Paige. This is what she was thought to be wearing the day that she disappeared. A white t-shirt and these multicolored leggings or pants. Paige was 30 years old at the time, working as a substitute school teacher. She's roughly 5'6", 125 pounds. She is extremely vivacious, outgoing, an extremely attractive woman. Blonde hair, blue eyes, big dimples. She had grown up in the town of Lansing, Michigan. She was currently, at the time, living in Okemos. Growing up, she had a great life. She has a wonderful family. This is Paige, her sisters, and her mother, Ardis, up there on the left. Paige is on the bottom right. They had a great upbringing. Paige's family has been looking for her. In May, it'll be 35 years that she has been missing. Paige was very popular in high school. She was a cheerleader. She was also working as a model. Everyone who knew her just adored her, loved her. She was very outgoing, very kind. No one could prepare her friends, her family, anyone that knew her for the events that would unfold on May 24th of 1990. Paige, earlier that day, she had taken her mother, Ardis, to the Detroit Metropolitan Airport. She had dropped her off. She told her mother that she was going to visit a friend in Canton, Michigan. These are pictures of Michigan back in 1990. Here's a map to show you. Leaving Detroit, that square box is the town of Canton. She stopped at her friend's house. Everything went fine, according to her friend. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Paige was in good spirits. She left the town of Canton. She was heading back up I-96 West. She was seen at roughly 2:30, 2:45 p.m. at a convenience store, which is west of Interstate 275 in Canton. She bought one beer. We know this because it was later found in the car. This is the general area where that convenience store was. The convenience store clerk actually remembered Paige because she was wearing those very distinctive pants. She also had a very nice necklace on. The last sighting of Paige Renkoski was on the shoulder of Interstate 96, right before the exit of Fowlerville. She was either talking to two or one African-American men. They were standing next to a maroon-colored minivan. This is the area of that highway as it looks today as you're approaching the Fowlerville exit. Somewhere right in this area was where, according to the last witnesses, she was seen. She seemed upset, according to them. They said that one of the men was apparently putting his hand on her shoulder as if to comfort her a bit. She was last seen around her vehicle around 3 p.m. that day. Unfortunately, the authorities didn't arrive until 6 p.m. The officers that arrived found her 1986 Oldsmobile Cutlass on the side of the road. It wasn't damaged or anything. It was still idling. They found her purse and her shoes inside the vehicle. Sadly, the responding officers didn't process it as a crime scene. They thought it was just an abandoned vehicle, so they just had it towed. It wasn't until the following day when the police officers contacted the registered owner, which was the company that Paige's mother was working for. It was a company car. Upon hearing this, Paige's mother, Ardis Renkoski, up there on the top left, she knew something was wrong and reported Paige missing. These are pictures of the actual vehicle. They started doing examination of the vehicle right away. Aside Paige's shoes and purse, they did find several fingerprints on one door and a palm print. However, unfortunately, these have never been able to be linked to anyone. This is a picture of the inside of Paige's vehicle. As you can see, her shoes are just lying there on the floor. This picture was actually withheld from the public for several years, but it finally was released. Once the word spread, the media got highly involved in this case. They descended on the area. More and more detectives were assigned to the case. Paige at the time was engaged to be married. Although they were having some problems, her fiance was very quickly ruled out as a suspect. Once the media got a hold of this case, more and more witnesses came forward. People were calling in all kinds of witnesses' accounts saying that they had seen a blonde-haired woman matching her description at rest areas, matching the description of her clothing, seen in a car passing them. The case over the last almost 35 years has gotten almost 2,000 tips. Sadly, none of those tips have led the authorities or her family any closer to finding Paige or finding out what happened to her. At the time of her disappearance, you have to remember this was the time where their cell phones weren't a thing, computers were still in their early days, the internet really wasn't a thing. Her family really came together with the community. They were constantly making flyers. The media was helping them get billboards made. They were able to raise a $25,000 reward. They were able to get these billboards in an area where they were going to be seen by hundreds of thousands of people every single day. Her parents were constantly talking to the media, the authorities. They were always highly involved in the investigation. Sadly, her father, Carl, passed a couple years after Paige disappeared. He did have certain health problems, but everyone that knew him said that he died of a broken heart, and I can only imagine. This is just such a tragedy. The police and their investigators went out to the scene. These are pictures from the actual time where they were doing search and rescue. They brought out their dog teams. I know the clarity isn't that great, but these are like 35 years old, these pictures. They found no clues. They couldn't pick up a scent. They couldn't find any other clues lying on the side of the road. Nothing that really would lead them to what could have possibly happened to Paige or who possibly took her.
We have now classified the disappearance of Paige Marie Renkoski as an abduction.
The media coverage was nationwide. Paige's friends, family, her church, they all got involved to help look for Paige, help get the word out. Unfortunately, with all their efforts, the case quickly became cold. Paige's family very early on felt that something very bad had happened to her. They couldn't imagine what could have possibly caused her to not only stop on the side of the road, but then get out of her vehicle. Is it possible that these two men were following her and forced her off the road somehow? That's really the main plausible theory, that they forced her off the road, maybe stopped in front of her. Maybe she got out to help them. Being the kind person that she was, that's maybe a plausible theory, that she got out to help these men and then they subsequently abducted her. The detectives have never given up on the case. In 2009, detectives told the media that they had a list of 6 potential suspects. At the time, one of them had already been murdered in Detroit in 1999. Although they didn't release the names, they did say that one of these suspects owned a maroon-colored minivan at the time when Paige went missing. It was the year 1999 when the Livingston Police Department formed a task force to solve some of their cold cases, and at the top of the list was Paige Marie Renkoski. Over the years, there's been various searches, various tips. In November of 2011, the FBI, along with the state and local police, began an operation of digging in Conway Township. They went to this area because one of the detectives had reviewed a 1999 case file, which included a hand-drawn map indicating that Paige's remains might be buried there. Despite all the work and man-hours that went into that effort, they didn't find anything. Paige still remains missing to this day. Paige's mother, Ardis Renkoski, she had dedicated her entire life after Paige went missing to finding Paige. She was the driving force for starting NamUs, which is just an incredible accomplishment in itself. NamUs is the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. It is an unbelievable resource. Ardis Renkoski not only dedicated her life to finding Paige, but she dedicated her life to helping others find their lost family members and loved ones, which she did. She was successful in helping dozens of families reunite with their loved ones or helping them find closure. She was also a founding member of Missing in Michigan. She served on their board for many years. These are incredible accomplishments. Missing in Michigan is an organization in Michigan that helps people find their loved ones, especially lost loved ones in ambiguous disappearances like Paige's. I wanted to mention these because these are incredible accomplishments, and sadly, Ardis Renkoski died in 2017, having never found out what happened to her beloved Paige. On February 2nd of 2018, there was a dual memorial service held for both Paige and her mother Ardis. Despite her mother Ardis never finding out what happened to Paige, she did, however, create these amazing organizations, and she has helped so many other people, and that's a wonderful, amazing thing. In Paige's case, the only real evidence the police have, or any of us really have, looking at this case is the vehicle, the 1986 Oldsmobile Cutlass. While the police, state, local, and federal agencies have examined the car thoroughly, because it wasn't treated as a crime scene from the very beginning, it's possible some evidence may have been contaminated or disturbed. They have never found any DNA evidence, which unfortunately would be the one thing that could really help solve this case. They do have the fingerprints, but to date they haven't been matched to anybody. They do still have the vehicle. These are all pictures from when they processed it right after they realized that it was a disappearance. It's always possible that there is something in the vehicle or on the vehicle that they missed that has sustained all this time. It's not probable, but it's definitely possible. The police in the Detroit area just recently solved a cold case that was actually from the late 1980s that had very striking similarities to Paige's. It involved a woman being taken from her car. Her car was later found running by the side of the road. While the Livingston police determined that a guy by the name of Robbins, was not involved in Paige's disappearance, it just shows you that cases that are as cold as this can be solved, and hopefully, I believe, will be solved. The family has always said throughout this investigation and all this time that at least one person, probably more people out there, know what happened to Paige. Even if the original offender maybe is in jail or passed away, it's most likely that they spoke to someone. People that commit these crimes often brag about them. I agree with the family. I think that someone out there, probably more than one person, knows what happened to Paige. And I hope and pray that one day someone will come forward, the police will find something new, they'll get another tip. They constantly keep getting tips. It's just that the tips that they have received unfortunately haven't led them anywhere. I'm sure they'll keep getting tips, and I hope and pray that the right tip will come into them soon. This will be 35 years this May that Paige has been missing. If anyone out there watching, or if you know someone that has any information regarding the disappearance of Paige Marie Renkoski, you can contact the Livingston County Sheriff's Office at 517-540-7880. I'll of course have all that information in the description, along with an email address that you can contact, more information on the disappearance and the authorities, more contact information as well. I want to dedicate this video to Paige Marie Renkoski, her family, her friends, all her loved ones, NamUs, Missing Michigan, everyone who's worked on this case over the last 34 years, 35 this year, the Livingston County Sheriff's Office, all the authorities, everybody who has put so much time and effort into this case. I hope and pray that the answers will come someday soon. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, your comments, your feedback. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free. It really helps out the channel a lot. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. As always, I'll have all my sources and credits in the description. Like I said, they did recently, about a year ago, make a documentary. I believe it's called Missing Paige, spelled as her name. If I find any information or where you can watch that, I'll leave that in the description as well. I'm sure it's amazing. Thank you for all that have sent in video requests or case suggestions. I'm trying to go through them in order. I really appreciate it. If you have any case or video suggestions that you haven't sent in, please leave me a comment. You can also send me an email, but I'm still trying to get caught up on those. If you're interested in being entered into this month's giveaway, I'm giving away 2 sterling silver chains with pendants. The one is Saint Christopher, who is the patron saint of travelers. The second one is Saint Bernard Mouthon, who is the patron saint of backpackers, hikers, skiers, and mountaineers. All you need to do is leave me a comment with feedback on this video or any video. Just let me know you want to be entered into the giveaway. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. If you've heard of this case before, if you have any theories, please leave me your thoughts in the comment section. If you have any upcoming adventures or travel plans, I'd love to hear those as well. Thank you again to all my subscribers, everyone who watches, all your feedback. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. See you in the next one.